Crime King back.
Well, I understand that there's a massive amount of evidence against this guy, and I feel like the rules are changing. There was a time where an eyewitness was the best kind of evidence you could have. Nowadays, a cell phone and a car and surveillance, that's not memory. That's actual physical proof that an individual was at the crime scene during the time, and we're getting to that point where, you got a defense that's overwhelmed with so much evidence that they're having a hard time defending it, and there's never going to be enough time for them. There's never going to be enough time for them to be prepared for the amount of evidence that they've been, dropped on them.
What's up, guys? True Crime King back. All right. So, again, here we go. Again, harsh reality. For some reason, can't stop talking about Steve Goncalves and going after him and his family. To me, this is the most despicable and disgusting thing you could possibly be doing, right? I mean, they just lost their daughter, their sister. And this guy wants to keep, talking about their family and making up these conspiracy theories and making these clickbait titles, right? Just to make a couple bucks off of their tragedy and their pain. And if he's going to keep doing it, I'm going to keep calling him out and exposing him, because I don't think it's right. So let's see what this grifter. I don't know if you see my community post, but Kaylee's sister came out yesterday and said that, someone brought up Harsh Reality's name, and Kaylee's sister said that Harsh might as well change all of his title names to something along the lines of, he just makes conspiracy theories or what. I forget the exact words, but you can go to my community page and see the exact quote. But it wasn't nice.
Terabytes of data has been dropped on their head.
51 terabytes of evidence against Kohberger.
And they all came forward, and I think...
But yet, some of you guys say, oh, the defense doesn't have any of the evidence. It's just so stupid.
I think they're going to be overwhelmed with the amount of evidence that they have against their client, and it could take them lifetimes to prepare for this.
Yeah, who knows? Next year, Aunt Taylor and Kohberger will say, oh, we need another year to go over all the evidence. It's taking longer than we thought, Again, I just want to reiterate. In my opinion, I think Kohberger and Aunt Taylor and the defense are just stalling, trying to look for some kind of miracle, somewhere where they can claim that they didn't do something right, process the crime scene correctly, and try and get Kohberger off on a technicality of some sort, because he is dead to rights. There's just so much evidence. And people are like, what evidence are you talking about? What do you mean, what evidence am I talking about? How about we start with his DNA on the murder weapon sheath underneath the dead body? How about we start with Kohberger in his car, passing the house 4 times right before the murders? The cell phone data? I don't need to keep on going. But, again, Looney Tunes.
Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this terrific Tuesday. It is terrific because you're here, I'm here. This is video 1 of 2. I think in the next one, I say that's 1 of 2.
Oh, he didn't say, you guys look amazing. Maybe we're getting to him, guys. Because obviously he can't see you.
Possibly, but this is 1, and that will be 2. Yeah. There'll be 3 videos in total today. I moved alive. Apologies, I had to. Bit of illness in the family, but it's all good, and you're looking absolutely amazing, by the way. What you just listened to at the beginning there was Steve Goncalves, his most recent interview with none other than Ashley Butfield. And look, it dawned on me, a realisation. First of all, I just want to say that
he called her Ashley Butfield. I mean, what a clown. Good one, Harsh. Real good, you know. Good insult there, boss.
I respect Steve Goncalves as a family, as a father, as a family. He's a family father. You know me. Me and English are just not that good. But yeah, I respect him as a father.
Yeah, you're English. You live in a different country. Why are you making 3 videos a day on the same case, saying the same bullshit? You know, that's in a case that's in a different country, man. What are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing, man?
As a family man, he has gone through the absolute worst thing that could ever happen to a father. 100%.
Yeah, he has.
Absolutely 100%.
So why do you keep attacking him?
And I feel for him in that manner. I must say that. This, what I'm going to say and coming up, is not about putting hate onto Steve Goncalves.
This video is not about hating on Steve. This video is about balancing the scales. What the fuck does that even mean, Harsh? What scale are you balancing, dude?
Goncalves at all, but Steve Goncalves has done some things that have perpetuated certain elements of this case.
What, he called you a grifter? I mean, obviously Harsh doesn't like that, right? So he's going to try and make you guys believe that the Goncalves family is doing whatever he's going to accuse them of doing. It's totally, because Harsh is biased now, right? The Goncalves family does not like Harsh. They see through what he's doing, like I and a lot of you are seeing. And Harsh is, you know, he doesn't want to just admit it that Steve is right. He wants to keep bashing the Goncalves family. Despicable.
And in a negative way. Like, I reached out to Steve Goncalves. Some may say wrongfully so. Some may be on the fence with it. Some will think it was probably wrong, but didn't say it because...
I'm saying it. It's fucking wrong. And you're a fucking clown, dude.
Because, you know, it's one of those things. And I get it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to your family being threatened, and they're being threatened seemingly by people very close to a case that this person is balls deep in, and he seems to be someone who will open...
Harsh is saying he's being threatened. What are you being threatened for, Harsh? What? You know what I mean? You can't even make a decision about how you feel about the case because you don't want to lose half of your audience, you know? So what are you even talking about? What are you getting death threats for? You know what I mean?
Openly talk to whoever wants to give him an air. I thought, you know what, I'm going to reach out to this guy. And when I had this conversation with this guy, the conversation that I had went in a direction that very kind of swiftly made it appear that he was throwing some shade on certain people in this case.
And Steve saw right through this, you know. He saw that Harsh was just saying he's receiving death threats just to try and drum up attention. He wanted to try and get on Steve's good side so he could possibly get some inside info about the case and all that kind of shit. Well, it backfired, didn't it, Harsh?
Namely, Bethany and Dylan. Now, some will say that I put words into Steve's mouth. I don't feel like I put words into Steve's mouth. For those of you who saw...
If anybody sees this and can get this into the Goncalves' eyeballs, I would actually tell the truth, you know, and be on the victim's side, unlike this guy, okay?
The video that I put up, all I showed was the entire conversation, and it was very, very clear what Steve was saying and how he felt. He had specifically stated that the surviving roommates were being protected. They were being protected. They didn't really want to speak. But anyway,
what's wrong with them not wanting to speak right now? There's a gag order anyway. They can't talk about the case. Nobody can, Harsh. Nobody that's involved with the case can speak about it. I'll say it again. There is a gag order in place by the freaking judge, dude.
By and by, we've moved forward. Some people haven't moved forward from that, and they never will, but...
Obviously, you haven't moved forward. You're still making videos on Steve and the Goncalves family. What the hell are you doing, Harsh?
I've moved forward and Steve's moved forward. I've spoken to Steve briefly forward. After that.
What are you making these videos for?
A conclusion together. But look, what I will say is this. Steve Goncalves has been someone who people have wondered whether he had more information than you or I. They contemplated whether he had a leak. And people have even gone as far as to say that this element of this case should be investigated, because that could be damaging. There shouldn't be a situation where Steve Goncalves should have additional information.
Hold on. Steve's daughter was the one that was murdered by Bryan Kohberger. Don't you think if the police are going to say or tell anybody a little bit more information, the first people they would tell would be the victims' families, right? I mean, is that too hard to comprehend? Is that illegal? I mean, when I lost one of my close family members, the police weren't going out and telling the public about it first, right? They were coming and telling the family members. What the fuck are you talking about, Harsh?
It shouldn't be. Not when Steve Goncalves is known to be so, let's say, loose-lipped. He has thrown himself into many things around this case. There has been situations such as the Linda Lane camera footage, and Brett Norton. Brad Norton. Is it Brad Norton? Brett Norton? I don't know. I can't remember. But that situation where it would seem that... Again,
and the real reason Harsh doesn't do lives, or he says he canceled them, is because he doesn't get that many views on his lives. That's the real reason. And he gets more views just making these little videos and putting up these clickbait titles. This one's Steve Goncalves proves, all capitals, he's in the dark like us. And what? Harsh, you don't know what Steve and the Goncalves family know. The hell are you talking about? Another fucking clickbait title, dude.
Again, he was balls deep in the Linda Lane footage situation, for better or for worse. But look,
this guy's taking, some public statements that Steve makes and making it seem like that's what he knows about the case, or that's just all he's sharing with the public, man. Dude.
Look, I concluded from listening to this last interview that he did that Steve Goncalves knows nothing. He knows absolutely nothing. And he is actually seemingly being influenced, just like the vast majority of people around this case, by...
What do you mean? What do you mean exactly when you say he knows nothing? What do you mean when you say that, Harsh? I mean, obviously that's not true at all, right?
By mainstream media narratives and the guilters. Originally, Steve Goncalves had said that Christie was sure it was Bryan Kohberger who did this crime. She had gone as far as to say she wanted Bryan Kohberger no longer breathing. She wanted him dead, and this was prior to him going into court and being proven beyond a reasonable doubt that he did it.
And see, this is part of Harsh's strategy. He can call people guilters or innocenters or whatever he wants to call them, because he can't make a decision. And he tries to, appease both sides, right? Sometimes Harsh will make these clickbait titles implying that he thinks Kohberger did it, right? Then, other times, he'll make these clickbait titles that implies he thinks Kohberger is totally innocent, right? Then sometimes he'll just make whatever clickbait titles he wants at the time. Because again, he does 2 or 3 only Idaho 4 case videos a freaking day.
So again, that further perpetuated people thinking, hold on a second, what do they know? They must know something. For her to go so deep into her hatred towards Bryan Kohberger, and some will say that's understandable, but some will say you have to step back. You have to remove emotion out of the equation. You can't let your pain and your suffering cloud your better judgment, and that is the...
Well then, if you're telling everybody else to take the emotions out of it, then why don't you listen to your own advice, Harsh? Obviously, you're making videos on Steve and his family because they don't like you. And they have publicly stated that. And they keep publicly stating that. And again, like I said, Kaylee's sister just basically called you out again yesterday. So that's why you're making this video today. Okay? So if you were to take the emotions out of it like you're telling us to do, you wouldn't even be speaking about them right now, Harsh. What a hypocrite.
That people deserve to be given the benefit of the doubt and to go through the system and to be proven to be guilty before you say this person is guilty and they deserve the punishment that this crime comes with.
Okay, hold on. Do they, though? So, if obviously there's plenty of evidence out there, right? If someone is on camera, goes and shoots somebody, Harsh is saying, oh, they're innocent because you can't call them guilty yet because they have to go to trial, even though we know they're the ones that committed the crime, right? So in this case, there's all the evidence that's out there points to one person, right? There's no other evidence, and all of you guys that disagree with me, you have no evidence at all that supports in any way anybody else committing this crime except Bryan Kohberger. And I'm not going to go through it. I mean, the DNA hit Kohberger on camera, driving right. I mean, there's just so much evidence against Kohberger that points to him being guilty that I am confident enough to say already, without even looking at the other 50 terabytes of data. It's just, I mean, if my DNA was on the murder weapon sheath under the dead body, guess what? I would call myself guilty, especially if I had all the other evidence, that supports me being the killer too. You know what I mean? I mean, Harsh, it just doesn't make any fucking sense, man. People can have opinions, right? Just because people believe and have an opinion that they think they're guilty because there is evidence out there, that's not illegal, okay? There's a thing called free speech in America. I don't know if you know that or not, because again, you live in a different country, okay? But people can say and think whatever they want to. We don't have to wait for someone to go to trial when there's already tons of evidence out there that supports Bryan Kohberger being a murderer and a killer. And again, if the FBI and the U.S. Marshals and the Moscow PD all 100% believe Kohberger did this by himself, okay, and they're charging him and going after the death penalty, then I feel pretty confident in myself, believing that Bryan Kohberger committed this crime and is a murderer.
Especially when that punishment is death. Just to get another death out of this tragedy isn't justice. It's furthering on the tragedy.
So what would be justice? So Kohberger, he can go in and kill 4 innocent people, but we're supposed to just say, oh no, that guy that killed those 4 people, he deserves all of these. He deserves to be treated just like a normal, innocent human being, right? Did Kohberger take that into consideration when he walked into 1122 King Road with a K-bar knife? Did he take that into consideration when he was standing over Kaylee and Madison and Xana and Ethan, and then was seen by Dylan walking out the slider, and was captured on camera and his cell phone records, and he was wearing latex gloves? A lot of you guys forget this. Kohberger's own sister said Kohberger was wearing latex gloves and not only taking out the trash inside the house for no reason during Thanksgiving and the holidays. Okay? I can maybe understand some people, maybe 0.001% of people maybe wear latex gloves when they take their trash out in the middle of the fucking night. But if you're going to sit here and say that you wear latex gloves in your house for no reason, then you are just a liar, and you are just trying to make excuses for Kohberger. That's the bottom line. Because nobody wears fucking latex gloves in their house for no fucking reason.
We already have 4 victims. A 5th victim isn't going to make this a better tragedy. It's going to make it worse. We fail to...
How's it going to make it worse? We're getting a killer that shouldn't... I mean, the people that live in Idaho, do you want to pay taxes to house Kohberger for the rest of his life so he can live comfortably and eat 3 meals a day after he took 4 innocent lives? I mean, I don't live in Idaho, but I would love to hear from some people that do live in Idaho.
To understand, or some people fail to understand, that there is another family in this, and that is Bryan Kohberger's family. The ripples don't just stop at the victims themselves. They go out further.
I mean, it's just disgusting to me how Harsh is defending a murderer.
And further and touch everyone. But yes, I truly believe that Steve Goncalves knows nothing. To go as far as to say that there are terabytes and terabytes of evidence against...
There's 51 terabytes of evidence that the prosecution turned over to Ann Taylor and Bryan Kohberger, Harsh.
Against Bryan Kohberger, and he was quite clever in what he did there. If you noticed, in 1 second it's sort of data, is terabytes of data, and then it's evidence. That shift from what it is to what you want to push out into the ether, and that is that there's terabytes of evidence against this guy. There's not terabytes of evidence against Bryan Kohberger. And again, and I've said this previously,
so if it's just data and it's not evidence, Harsh, then why would the prosecution be handing it over to? What would the defense have to go over that for? Right? What do they need an extra year to go over data that means nothing, Harsh? Does that make any sense? No. And Harsh is just trying to push this narrative out there, just to get, again, more money and more views and more clickbaity shit, okay? And again, going after Steve and the Goncalves family is as low as you can go. It just is. I'm going to have to make this into 2 parts. I'll see what the reaction is on this. If you guys like it, I'll finish the second part. But let me know what you guys think about the Harsh keep going after the Goncalves family. It's just, in my opinion, like I just said, as low as you could possibly go. And Harsh is just mad that, the Goncalves family doesn't like him. And they saw right through his bullshit. Like, I hope some of you guys that haven't seen it yet do. Anyway, hit that like and subscribe button, guys. We're just about at 18,000. I appreciate y'all. And until next time, True Crime King out.